Hi everyone. Today it will be a very special episode, and I have here with me Graham from UK. We became friends. I can't even remember when, so it seems that it has been a while. So Graham, welcome, and please introduce yourself. Really see many people in the chat. Let me see if I can list them all. Yes, Graham, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, bud? Yeah, in terms of when we met, it was some point last year. It was some random post on dev.to where you said, I'm thinking of building up a community. And that's where it all came from. And here we are. We work together now. So, yeah, I always think that's a great little story. And I'm so excited to be on your live stream. I'm glad you finally run out of the interesting people to have on here. And now you can go down to the lowly levels and have people like me on. It's great.
You know that it's not true. And by the way, all the people, I think that, let's see if I can try to list them all. Anyway, I invited you here also because maybe we chat every day, but I would like really to relax and listen, honestly listen to your story. How did you step in tech? And of course, then we'll step into the main topic, which is developers' health or health as a developer. And then we will can get some questions. Feel free to provide value in the chat. So Graham, let's get started, please. A bit more about you.
Yeah, so I've got a bit of a weird story of how I got into development. So I opened an estate agency straight out of university, and I was trying to manipulate a load of housing data I'd come into possession of. And I started playing with macros, and that was my path into development. So I was playing around with all of the values in the spreadsheet and trying to make sure that obviously that they all aligned correctly and everything, and it was impossible with just normal functions. So then I started playing around with macros, and from there I got really interested in the power of what you can do with a little bit of a for loop, basically, because that was about the extent of my programming language at that point. And I've been a developer ever since. And I suppose I've been a developer ever since because I opened my estate agency in 2008, which was not a good time to open an estate agency because that's when we had the massive banking crisis. So, yes, I also don't have good timing sometimes with things. And then since then, I've been a self-employed developer for like 15 years, up until the last 3 months. And then I joined this company, you may have heard of them, called Daily.dev. And I deliberately said it daily.dev then, don't tell me off.
Yes, no problem. Just let me show fast my t-shirt, which is here, which is also, I think, the t-shirt that I'll have in my live stream on Sunday. So, by the way, something super fast. Recently, so yesterday, Graham changed his Twitter handle. So now you will find this at Graham the Dev. So this is a very valuable handle that you put. Congratulations. So yes, Graham. What about the content creation part? Because I think this is also related to before starting to talk about the main topic. So maybe not many of you know that now I'll find that, but Graham has been very active on the dev.to platform, which is not daily dev. And so I would like to know more about that. So as a technical writer, your experience, what are you talking about there? Some plans, so something more about the content creation part. And then we step into the health.
Yeah, so content creation was a bit of an accident, really. I stumbled across a article on dev.to, not daily dev, and I left a comment and it got lots of likes. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I thought, I quite like this platform. People seem friendly. So I had to go at writing, released my first article, and as you'd expect, I got thousands and thousands and thousands of people not seeing it. I got like 12 views. But I realized I quite enjoyed it. And from there, I started just writing a bit more. And in the end, I've got 90 articles on there, although I've not been writing much recently. But yeah, I did 90 articles in 11 months. And obviously that's how we came to meet. So that was a great bit for me. I found that very valuable, that I'd managed to write on dev.to for that amount of time. But in that time, I also left about 2,000 comments. So I also started to realize that online networking really was what's the word I'm looking for? Valuable. So I then realized that perhaps tech Twitter is the next place for me. So I've started paying attention there as well. And obviously, all of it resulted in this job working with a wonderful developer advocate like yourself.
Wow. Thank you for the compliment. And so I have one question, because I don't know if, let's say that I've talked to many people. So usually people, they stay a lot on social media, or maybe sometimes they become content creators after joining social media. We can say, one of them. After 2 months of joining social media, I decided to create content and provide value. But in your case, you made like a different path. So can you tell me and us why?
Like I said, there wasn't a plan behind it. So I've always been quite shy. I don't like talking. I mean, grabbing the mic is not something that actually is comfortable for me, to be honest with you. It's taken me a long time to get used to grabbing the mic and talking in public. So I decided that writing perhaps was better because I could be anonymous, as you well know, and you told me off for many times. I had a logo up instead of my picture, and it meant I could just write and be whoever I wanted to be online. And so I then found my little niche of angry rants and taking the mickey and being a bit of a troll, and I continued with that, and now I'm trying to transfer the written into spaces, basically, on Twitter.
Nice. We have been kind of active. We have been in at least a couple of spaces, I think.
One
so
or two,
far.
So, yeah.
Yes. Nice. Perfect. So, okay, so let's go into the main topic. So when I joined Twitter, I was like exercising almost every day, even if I was working as a developer. So at some point, I remember that I made a poll, like, do you ever exercise? And like 70% of people said zero, never. I was like shocked, like, okay, so this is not just a stereotype. So, there is always something true in the stereotypes. Like, for example, I eat pizza and spaghetti sometimes. From your perspective, or what you've seen on social media, is the stereotype true or false about developers being super lazy, never want to work out, always stressed? Is that true? No?
So the lazy part, certainly not. I've not seen many lazy developers, and I've also seen a lot of developers who are well into fitness. So I think that bit's true. Always stressed out though. That bit does worry me. I think there's a lot of stressed developers in the world, and that's perhaps the one bit where that is a bit of a, the stereotype does ring true. But that's probably down to people not valuing their time.
Yeah, for sure. And for example, there is also the stereotype that developers, like, they have never relations or something else. I think that statistically, it's not really true, but sometimes we joke about this. Okay, so let's go. But I already see some questions. I'll save them for later. If you put
by all means, pull them in whenever you want. Like, I don't mind answering them as we go ad hoc as well, if you want to. Whichever works for you.
Yeah, usually I like to go with the main topic first, and then the questions that are not related to this at the end. But feel free to drop the questions. If you put a Q in square brackets, it's better for me and for my eyes. I see Savas here. I tried to bait you, and you are here. Nice, I got it.
Savas is one of the developers where I said he's a monster. Nice. So yeah, you keep hitting the gym. Like, he's a monster. Perfect. I'm trying to be like Savas at the moment.
Nice. Okay, so basically we have two types on health, and I put this intentionally in the title. It was not something specific. So we have the physical aspect and the mental aspect. I would like to, if we have time, to talk about both of them. So from which one would you like to start? Like, if it was like a school, like, from which topic would you like to start?
I never got to choose at school. Let's go for physical health first, because that's the one where everyone can laugh and go, "What is the middle-aged fat white guy telling me about health?" But that's
Yeah, let's
that's the
see,
fun
let's
bit.
see, let's see, let's see. So, okay, this is a question undefined. This is the template, by the way.
Question.
Nice.
That is a very deep question.
Yes, that will be very hard to answer. Okay, so for me, okay, maybe I am something that it was normal. Like for me, it was I never done like a podcast about gym when I was like working in a gym, but before, but I think mainly because I was scared about the camera. So, what do you think that are the mistakes, or maybe what have you seen from your experience? Something that maybe developers, usually, of course, we are talking in general, that maybe they lack from the physical health
Well,
perspective.
it's awareness of how bad sitting is for you. That's what most developers lack. Like, especially when you start out developing and you think you're invincible because you're like 25 and nothing's broken yet. But unfortunately, you start feeling it quite early, a lot earlier than most people. If you're sitting 10, 12 hours a day, you start realizing, oh, this sitting thing's not particularly good for me. Perhaps I better do something about that. So I think that's the biggest single mistake most developers make.
Yes, I can say that I've been lucky enough that I started this job at 35, no, 32, no, 32, 35. So maybe this can be a solution, like switch to tech when you are 35 and try to get fit before. So I don't know if I got it right. But yes, I agree. I agree with that. And yeah, we are joking, but I think that health, especially the physical one, and of course also the mental one that we'll talk later, it's important. So let me play the devil's advocate role, which fits me pretty well. Uh, why should exercise? I mean, I don't eat always junk food. Sometimes I stand up from a chair. I also walk my dog, and that's it. So, do you think that this is good? This is enough? Well, let's say, of course, I'm trying to talk for everyone. By the way, if you have any question, just drop them in the chat, and we can also play the devil's advocate. You can drop any kind of questions because I want to try to make to put Graham in difficulty, but I think that will be hard. So, Graham, what can we tell?
So based on what you said there, I'd say that is an absolute bare minimum. And as long as your diet was good, you could probably get away with that for a long amount of time. But I think the big one would be stretching, because yet again, if you're sat all the time, you end up with the muscles shortening on your legs, and then it puts you all out of posture. And I know for a fact that I really struggled with the fact that everything had become tense. So I was all out of alignment, started getting a bad back at way too young an age. And it took me a long time to get past that. And even now, I can hurt my back, which I shouldn't be doing at my age. It's kind of a something you learn once, but it's too late once you learn it. That you should really just look after that particular part. So yeah, definitely flexibility. That's the big one I would have added to your minimum sort of regime. But yet again, it depends how often you're getting up from your desk. Like, if you're getting up every 2 hours, it isn't enough. You need to be moving around a lot more often than that. And obviously exercise has massive benefits, which we can come on to in a minute. But I feel like you were setting me up to say, what's the bare minimum that's not going to leave you, in severe pain and growing and growing and growing in, border radius 50%.
Nice. Yes. And yeah, but for example, now I feel that I don't exercise enough because before I was just doing stretching all day long because like with different groups of people, I was just basically doing stretching all my day. So for me, it was not kind of a problem. Now, maybe it's also because I'm getting old. I have I'm not that flexible as before. So but I try at least during summers. I just back to running. I think I started 4 days ago to become at least decent, I'll say. And yes, so this is good. And what would you suggest to to go to a gym, do this by yourself? I know this is a very general tips, but what's your point of view?
Yeah, so it's a really tough one, that, because we're supposed to say everybody's different, blah, blah, blah. But if you can afford it and the gym is close, because I think a lot of people underestimate that travel time to the gym is a massive drain on your time. A gym is probably better than trying to do things at home yourself, because I built the home gym. I had a house with a home gym in it. And the problem is, because it's there, I didn't feel as motivated, because it was like, oh, I can do it later. I can do it later. Whereas having a gym membership, I put time in my diary. Once I'm in the car, I know I'm going to the gym. I just have to get to the car. It's a lot easier than persuading myself to go and, you know, get the weights racked up and get ready to actually do some exercise. So I think that a gym membership is probably best for most people. This is me being general here, like you said. Just because it's a very controlled and focused environment. You can't get distracted very easily at the gym. You are there are workout machines and there are weights. That's it. So you either do that or you just stand around doing nothing. Unless you go to one of these weird gyms that have like restaurants and cafes in them. We've got a couple of them near me and I never quite understand those ones. So yeah, pick a gym that's focused on being a gym, not a social venue, obviously.
Okay, yes. And when will we see some pictures of you in the gym so we can get some hundreds of likes?
Oh, okay. Well, and Jax is probably going to be calling me out on that one as well, because he's always saying, you've got to prove it. I'll tell you what, I'll take some pictures next week. So I've managed this week, other than today, because we were launching a new feature on Daily Dev, by the way, everyone, to be at the gym and take 2 hours out every day.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So be sure to follow Graham so you can see more pictures of him, because I want to say something before going on this question. I love being connected with developers. This has been what I did since 2 years and a half. But when there are developers who also share some tips, they're exercising, for example, Danny Thompson now, I love that, because it's like my memory of being a coach. So when I see developers exercising, that's really the best content that I can read, because my heart is still a coach. So I love that. I still love that. I've never ignored that. So not about posting pictures of football games of someone else, but if you post some pictures of you exercising, probably you will get a like if I see it. Nice. So let's go on the Jack's question, because it's related. If you're tired one day, you intend to exercise, is it better to push it through and work out, or rest and postpone for a day you feel better?
Oh, here we go. He's trying to catch me out here. If you just feel tired and it's only feeling tired, then yes, push through. It's better to have an off day and not hit your goals than to actually, like, you know, just not turn up at all. However, if you're feeling under the weather and you're feeling ill, then you may consider skipping exercise, because you may end up actually making yourself feel more ill because you've not given your body a chance to recover. So you've got to get that balance right. But if it's literally just, I can't be bothered, or I didn't quite get a great night's sleep, get to the gym. Doesn't matter if you do half what you normally do. At least you're still going, and more than anything, you're keeping the habit going, because that's the hardest part of exercise. I remember, so to put it in context, I used to be very fit. I'm not anymore, but I'm trying to get back there. And I was addicted to going to the gym. Like, I had to go like at least 5-6 times a week, and that habit builds as a pattern in your head, and it's breaking that pattern that means that you end up falling by the wayside and putting on weight and forgetting to exercise. So, you know, get through those first 60 days or so, and you just won't want to not go to the gym, even if you're feeling a bit tired, or at least that's what happens for me anyway.
Nice. And for me, it's connected with my mental health. So if I feel just tired mentally, exercising, walking after, at the end of the day, is the perfect solution. Nice. I see a lot of people in the chat. We have many people here. Thank you so much for providing so much value in the chat. Okay, so Yudai asks...
There's actually something that Summit said there that really made me laugh, which is he was saying that kilos in the UK. No, we don't use that value for measurement. We use pounds over here. We're a bit weird. We're like America. We mix up imperial and metric. So whenever I give you a value, you never know whether I'm giving you in pounds, metric, what. It's weird.
No, of course, it's America that is like you, by the way. Okay, so you die. You sent me a DM, I'll reply to you, no worries. Every time I start with doing exercise every day, at least 30 minutes, there's always something that gets me out of that consistent task. Any tips to build the habit? You can go first.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll have loads of great things to add to this. But I would say schedule a time when nobody can bother you and things don't get in the way. So either very early in the day or very late in the day, depending on what your preference is. At that point, nobody's going to phone you. There's not going to be something comes up. You should be absolutely fine. But also have a backup plan. Like there's no matter how much planning you do, if you've put 30 minutes in your diary every day to exercise, something somewhere is going to make that go wrong. So make sure you've got a second time during the day where you can still do that 30 minutes. As long as you do it during the day, that's still being consistent with it. It's when you skip a day and then go, oh, well, I didn't do it yesterday, so I can take another day out today. And then before you know it, it's been a week and the habit's disappeared already. But more than anything, schedule it in the diary and make sure that you're very, very hard to interrupt at that point. And just make sure that you can do it.
Nice. I'll give my 2 cents. So like a practical tip. So if you really skip because you have something else to do, at least balance with what you eat. So at least try to eat healthy that day. Otherwise you'll feel guilty. That it's never a strategy, but this is usually what happens. And for me, it's crazy because the more I exercise, the better I eat. And the less exercise, the worse I eat. That's I don't know. But I know, I'm not that normal. This is not a 12 hours stream, so this is wrong. The 12 hours live stream, it's on Sunday. Because I care about the grain. Showing up is half the battle for sure. Hello, the friends. Official, hi, official. Thank you for being in the chat.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
Nice. I see a lot of people. Nice. Okay, so let's get into the mental health. I think that here we can talk for real 12 hours, but we'll keep this short. Yes.
I was going to say there's one bit that we've probably missed that's more important when it comes to physical, which is nutrition. Everyone always talks about the exercise part, but as you said, the eating healthy is probably 70% of the battle. So that was just one that I thought I'd mention to people, that you should spend some time actually learning the basics of nutrition before we move on to that. Because even if you're struggling to exercise regularly, if you eat well, then you're going to feel great anyway. And it's easy enough to do like 10 minutes walking around the office, but you've got to eat properly, otherwise you end up putting on weight. And I can tell you that for a fact.
Nice. And here, let's get this question by Shubangi because it's more related to the physical activity. So working out is great, but how will I get back to eating healthy and avoid cooking healthy food and avoid junk? Yeah, go, Graham.
No, you go first. Go on. I could tell you had something good to say.
I am the host, so you will always go first.
Oh, it's nice to be able to actually do that for once. So I have a couple of tips here. One is to avoid junk. Make sure that you've planned out your meals for the week. It can be a little bit boring for some people at the beginning, but once you get used to it, you can actually get some excitement in there where you plan out what meals you're going to have what night. It means that you will go out and do the shopping for the week. And it means that you're not going to then be getting to like Thursday night and going, oh, what should I have for tea tonight? Oh, I need something quick. I'm hungry. I'll grab a pizza. That's generally how the junk food thing starts. And the second one is, and yet again, this is a tough one for some people, but I meal prep. So I plan my meals out for the week and then I will cook them in batches so that they're just in the fridge, ready to go. I bung them in the microwave for 3 minutes. I know exactly what's in it. I know it's healthy and I get it eaten. And you end up with some quite tasty meals and it costs you less money. So there's a lot more we could say about that, about how to structure it so you're not eating like spaghetti bolognese 3 days on the trot or something like that, which is what a lot of people in meal prep end up doing. You can end up eating something different every day, but that would take the whole live stream to explain that one. So think about how you can plan your meals out and then cook everything all at once and portion it out ready. And then you know exactly what you're eating. You can just grab it out of the fridge. And then when you get busy, you still don't fall into bad habits, because it's time, I think, that's the biggest killer on people eating well. It's that they fall short of time, they need something quick, and there's very few healthy options for a hot meal in the evening, or at least in the UK, that don't cost a fortune.
Yes, I'll give two fast tips. The first one is that I will start from the evening, because usually on the evening, if we don't have something like very energetic to do, basically we are eating because we are bored. And of course, I say this always for my personal experience. So I will start from that. So I will not cut the energy from the breakfast and lunch. Otherwise, you'll be a zombie or crypto zombie. And the other one is that I think this food battle starts at the grocery. So if you buy a lot of junk food, you will eat a lot of junk food. I know that this sounds stupid, but it is. For example, I always, even if I'm hungry, by the way, never go to grocery store if you're hungry, but I always buy some salad, some healthy food, and this is already a win, because I hate wasting food. I really hate wasting food. So I start my battle there. If I buy some junk food, I'll eat that for sure, 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree on that one as well. Like, I've actually got to the stage where I get my fiance, she takes the biscuit tin to work with her because she likes having biscuits. She eats really well other than that, but biscuits are a big thing. But if they're in the house and I see them, I'll just take a couple and then a few more. And then before you know it, I've had half a packet of biscuits. So she actually every day takes her biscuit tin to work with us just to save me from munching on the biscuits all day long. So yeah, get them out of sight, get them out of your house, hide them away if you have to. But that trigger of seeing a biscuit and going, oh, I'll just have one, is far too easy. Replace it with a bowl of fruit. That's what I've done. My kitchen's got a bowl of apples and pears in there as we speak. So every time I go in the kitchen, I grab a drink and then I grab an apple. And that works really well for stopping me snacking on rubbish.
Savas says, start slow, don't go straight from eating junk 4 times a day to eating nothing but cucumbers the next day. I feel attacked because I've eaten watermelon just now. So yes, Savas, I feel attacked, but
there's something interesting in what he said there, though, which is a lot of people go on diets and immediately they go, right, I'm going to halve my calorie content intake, if they actually look at that sort of thing. And the absolutely nothing, it doesn't work. That doesn't work. That isn't sustainable long term. You need something that fills you up still. You just need to pick more sensible foods. The people who go on these yo-yo diets, it will never work for you long term. You have to find something that you can sustain. And wow, there's enough emojis there to sink a battleship.
Very valuable emojis, I'll say.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Nice. So yes, say no, bro, it doesn't sound stupid. Sometimes I feel really stupid when I give this sort of tips, but I say them because if you say them, people say, "Oh, Francesco is right," but say something super obvious we can say. But I've noticed that this can help someone for real. So yes.
Oh, I agree. Like you've said some obvious things that I already know in the past on stuff to do with social media and stuff, and I've just gone, yeah, he's right, and I've ended up doing it because although you know the thing, having someone say it again can be a great little prompt to go, I should really tackle that now.
Yeah, and I think the fact is about talking about something. I mean, if someone says like I can't sleep or I want to wake up early, the tip is to go to bed early. It's stupid, but it's I think that sometimes we need someone that tells us something. So I think we can actually do that. But yes, nice. So I will go now on the mental health part, and I can say that on my previous job, my previous life, I had some mental health problems, but it was not related to my job. Maybe I've been upset and angry when I was losing some game, okay, some match. But apart that, I never experienced like burnout, stress, because when you do a lot of physical activity, usually you have other problems. Maybe you can have injuries, you go to the hospital. But I never experienced this. When I jumped into tech, sitting on a chair for many hours, feel the stress, the imposter syndrome, working like from zero to the European Space Agency in a room full of cool people, dressed well, because I was used to dress like this, of course. So instead I was like dressing very serious, like, Francesco, hey, welcome, how are you, how's it going? So mental health for developers. I think we can turn this really into a 12 hours live stream, Graham. So let's try to make it a bit shorter.
Yeah, if we could, because like I said, I've got no aircon on in here and it's boiling in the UK. So 12 hours. No, I'll melt by then. I'll be a puddle. But yeah, mental health for developers. I think you touched on something. I think a lot of people know it's already one of my least favorite things, imposter syndrome. So maybe we start with that one. And I hate it because imposter syndrome makes it sound like it's something that happens to you. It's a disease. You can't do anything about it. And it's a negative thing. And I disagree with it, because I think that the symptoms of imposter syndrome are being uncomfortable, being out of your depth, worrying whether you're good enough, being surrounded by people who are better than you. That's the best place you can be. You just need to frame it differently. And I think that's where a lot, so that we're not sort of focusing on one thing entirely, I think that's where a lot of mental health stuff comes from, is self-pressure and how you frame things. So for example, with imposter syndrome, a lot of people frame it as, I don't know anything, everybody knows more than me, as a bad thing, thinking that you're an imposter. That's the whole point of it. You're out of your depth and everybody knows more than you, when in reality it's just that you're exactly where you should be. You're pushing yourself, you're outside of your comfort zone, you're pushing your boundaries. That shouldn't be causing you stress that makes you think you don't belong there. That's your own impression of that, not anybody else's. It should be, I'm where I want to be. This is the place I should be because I'm surrounded by people who can make me better. I'm in a position and a job that is going to force me to grow and be better. So that's why I absolutely hate that bit. But I think within that is the crux of nearly all mental health stuff, which is it's how you perceive things more than the external factors that actually create problems for you. So that's my sort of very heavy headway into mental health. But I do hope that was at least a valuable insight into why I hate imposter syndrome, as the saying.
Absolutely. Graham Jax also says, "Go Graham," and this I like this with all the value, of course, and the reframing tip. And I also have one question. So, my Jax, how do you deal with high levels of anxiety so they don't stop you from doing your work?
Yeah, so it is a difficult one especially if you're an anxious person. So you need to find ways to cope with your anxiousness and actually have like a way to reset. So a lot of people will do breathing exercises because you can't control it if you're actually someone who is an anxious person. There's nothing you can do about that directly. That is basically a personality trait. You just have to work hard at trying to find ways where you can take your stress levels and anxiety levels from way up here down to here as quick as possible. So the most popular one that seems to work, this works for me, but I'm not really an anxious person, so take it with a pinch of salt, with a grain of salt, is breathe in for 7 seconds through your nose, hold it for 8 seconds. No, sorry. Breathe in for 4 seconds through your nose, hold it for 7 seconds, and then breathe out through your mouth, making a sound for 8 seconds, and repeat that 4 times. There's something very strange with how it actually what's the word I'm looking for? Your sympathetic nervous system. It actually like interacts with your sympathetic nervous system and actually can really help people calm down. If that doesn't work for you, you need to practice with like a stress ball or something, and you need to associate squeezing that stress ball with a feeling of being calm. So you need to do it before you get anxious. You need to find a space that's calming for you, squeeze a stress ball a few times and concentrate on the feeling you have at that moment in time, so that when you get very stressed, you can squeeze that stress ball and your brain will go, oh, okay, this is when I'm in a calm state. And that can also work really well for people with high anxiety. Yet again, I should have prefaced this, not a psychologist, not a mental health expert, so please take everything I say with a massive grain of salt. Do your own research on top of what I say. I'm hoping I just point you to the right direction and then you do the research yourself.
And it's the same for me, even if I say something about both physical part and the mental part, is just from my perspective, not a doctor perspective. And I think that the main tips that we're giving here, it's like chatting in a bar. So it's like taking a beer together, we can try to solve some problem. But if you have a real problem like that you can't really move, or you have panic attacks, that this is you should try and go and find medical treatment as soon as possible. The more you wait, the worse. So I just want to say this because it's important to say, to say this. And then yes, for me, just 2 cents super fast, and I will go on the next question. Feel free to drop them all. When I have a problem with even if it's anxiety, overwhelming, I do something which is stupid, but it's worse for me. I write down the cause, and I am super honest with myself. Like, okay, so is this caused by my work, my fiance, my friend, my this person who is attacking me on social media? So if you're very honest and you put it out, of course, if you have a psychology is easier. So we'll try to do this without any help. For me, sometimes it works because sometimes we just lie to ourselves just because we want to keep going. But if we has a problem and you identify that, then you can at least you know that the problem is there. Even if you do nothing, you know that the problem is there, that this is causing you anxiety. Because usually it's a bit hard to do this alone. Maybe you need some practice. But for example, for me, for now, it worked. Then, of course, if I felt too bad, I'll find some professional help. Jack, are there times? I think we sent some DMs on Twitter. I recognize the profile picture. Are there times when you feel too overwhelmed to get both your work done and a workout in the same day?
I mean, you can have the feeling of being overwhelmed, but the simple answer to that is you need to work out which is your higher priority. The work will always be there. The workout should always be there. Which one do you put as the highest priority? And I would always say get the workout done, because the workout will probably give you the headspace to then focus on the work again when you get back. So yeah, I think everybody's going to come across that. I can tell you personally at the moment, Jack, that I have been massively overwhelmed. I've been getting rid of my old clients with my old business, as well as working at Daily Dev. So I have been doing 2 jobs effectively. I took on too much. I didn't plan out how to get rid of it properly. So I've made all the mistakes that I'm warning everyone else against at the moment. But you just have to then have a plan of working out where your priority is. So as I said earlier in the stream, I've booked out 2 hours every day between 12 and 2. Those are my times to go to the gym, eat, have a shower, and eat my lunch. And that means I've made that a higher priority than my work. It might mean I work in the evenings, etc., but that time is in my diary. It does not move. So I would say, yes, I fully at the moment feel overwhelmed, like I can't get both done, but I prioritize working out, and the work will get done ultimately. It might just take a bit of juggling around, basically. So I hope that's a useful answer and it adds some value.
Yes, absolutely. And for example, for me, it's since I think started learning JavaScript, I I felt that I was not exercising enough because before that I was just exercising all the summer. I was not on social media, which is a lot of time. So now I always feel overwhelmed that I don't exercise enough. Even if I work, even if I run 20 kilometers, I always feel that I don't work out enough. For me, it's never enough. So it's like another level of being frustrated with yourself that you don't exercise a lot. But at some point, I think you should give priorities, and Graham said. And to be honest, between just I don't know, trying to solve some bugs. Or maybe I don't know, try to find another client. I think that if you go with the workout part, it's hard to go wrong. It happened to me to say, okay, so let's try maybe this month, 2 months to don't exercise. I always regretted that in the past. So yes, absolutely. Nice one, nice, Jai. How do you stay productive after working out? I feel really tired. Any tips on that?
You see, I don't have any particularly great tips there, because I feel the other way around with it. But no, I if I can't answer something, I always say I can't answer it. And unfortunately, I operate the other way. Like if I do exercise, I feel awake for a couple of hours after it. So sorry, I hate not being able to answer someone's question. Hopefully Francesco can add some value there.
To be honest, I can't add any more value because I feel the same. Of course, after running, I need a shower, especially if I have to record a video. Otherwise, I looked at it was like super hard to make the video, like sweating. And yes, I think it depends on the activity, but I think that at least stay on social media, or at least because it depends what productive means. for you, maybe. And of course, it depends on the workout. I mean, if you are like professional bodybuilder, you are like staying in a gym for 10 hours and you really are destroyed, it's something. Yes, but I think that
I did have a thought. Why don't you move when you work out? Like if you feel really tired after working out, move it very late in the day. And then everything after that is chill out time or bedtime, depending on how tired you feel. Like if you literally feel exhausted, work out, have a shower, go straight to bed. It might work for you personally. So move your day around to account for whatever, however you actually interact with physical activity.
Nice. And Jax is suggesting to change the handle again. I don't know if that's possible. Graham, the know-it-all. It sounds very, cocky.
I was going to say, I was going to say, know-it-all in the UK is very much you just don't listen to anyone. You think you know everything, you know nothing. It's a big insult in the UK, that one. So I might change it to that. Thanks, Jax. Because that suits my my complete trolling on Twitter personality. But I have a feeling that's over 15 characters as well, to be honest. And you didn't capitalize it. So you know what I'm like with stuff like that.
Yes, and yes, Graham. So we have already crossed 40 minutes, which it seems like 10 minutes to me. Instead, we are already crossed 40 minutes. So if you have some last minute question, I think we have one from Udai that I kept since the beginning. So I've been a good guy. So let's reply this, which is not strictly related to developers' health. Then drop some more questions, final message, and then we're done for this first episode of Graham the Dev. What are the thoughts on time management? How do you divide your day to tackle the high priority tasks?
So going back to the fact that this is obviously all about developer health, I think time management is also a really important skill to be able to manage stress and everything else. So yet again, at the moment, my process is what is the most important thing it gets done now. I am on sort of firefight mode. But as that's coming to an end and I've caught everything up, what I tend to do is I tend to break my day into sections about 2 hours long, where I put the first half of my day, because that's when I'm most productive, on the high priority, high effort, really intensive tasks. And then the second half of my day is more on the sort of maintenance, admin, easy to do sort of tasks, because that suits the way I work. But the thing that a lot of people miss is trying to batch tasks together. And that's the bit that's really, really important. When you're switching between different types of tasks, there's quite a large spin-up time that people underestimate. So if you're suddenly answering emails, then you suddenly go into work on some code, then you answer an email, then you're doing some code. That switching means that you're never fully engaged with anything. So I tend to make sure I have blocks that I am focused, I'm not being disturbed, and I will focus on a particular task and get it done, or at least do whatever I want to achieve on that task in that time. And then I'll move on to another one. Yet again, I don't get it all perfect all the time, but I did at one point have everything nailed down, and I'm moving back that way now, where I'll just have slots where certain types of tasks happen, and that will massively boost your productivity. And then the only other thing with time management is plan ahead, be ahead, because that's the other problem I've got. I'm not ahead at the moment. If you're ahead, it means that when you ask a question and you need a response from someone, you're not having to pester them or rely on them to come back to you in within 10 minutes. So you're not sat there twiddling thumbs. So get as far as you can, and then leave enough time that you can then ask the questions that you need to ask, have them all together and ask them at once. And then you can then wait for those, and you're ready to work at the next point with hopefully all your answers together. So you save a lot of the sort of communication time. So those, I think, are my two biggest tips for time management.
Nice. I like it. And we have some more questions, so let's try to go fast with them. And how do you keep track on your daily dev daily tasks?
So I've actually got a custom system I built for a client an awful long time ago, and I've transferred everything to that recently. So I like that because it lets me set up workflows, and obviously I understand it inside and out. So if I ever want to do anything clever, I can update it. But that's what I do. But brutal honesty, people overcomplicate task management and looking after your tasks. You can do it with a piece of paper and a pen. It's literally just meant to be a list of things you need to get done, and you cross them off when they're done. People want all sorts of fancy features and toys and integrations. A lot of the time you spend as much time trying to make sure you've set all the right fields up so the integrations work as just doing your task list, because your brain can remember most of the stuff you need to do. It just needs a prompt. You need a way to be able to dump having to remember to do it onto paper, but you only need that prompt, and then your brain will immediately remember, oh yeah, it was that I need to be getting doing. So pick whatever works for you is always what I say. And I hate that sort of fluffy answer normally, but people are very different. And then just keep it simple. So the simplest task management system you can find, like I said, pen and paper works, or a simple notepad. Or like I said, build your own. It's a fun little side project. You don't need to put a lot of time into it. It doesn't need to be fancy.
Nice, awesome, Graham. So I think that we are close to the end. We have replied to many questions about developers' health. I also refreshed something about your life. I'm also super happy that you made a subscription to the gym. And yes, so Graham, would you like to say something at the end of this little stream before we close? I think you said very valuable things, but can we add something else?
Yeah, so two things. Number one, congratulations on 110,000 followers. So I know you hate every time that I ruin that for you. So there you go. That's what good friends are for. Always annoy the other person. I just want to say, look, take your health seriously. I've made all the mistakes. I can tell you that your health is so much more valuable. And when you think, oh, I'll work through tonight because I've got loads to do, you can do that a couple of times. You can do it maybe 1 or 2 days a week for a month, and then you need to go back to sleeping properly. You know, occasionally it sometimes has to happen, but realistically, long term, you are far more productive if you get the sleep you need. If you exercise, doesn't have to be anything big or great. Just make sure you're moving about and you're stretching, and you eat well. That's the biggest one. Make sure that you're eating the right foods. It will massively change your mood and the way that you feel. And that means that you'll get more done. And it's like as you can have a lot of downward spirals, you can also have a lot of upward trajectory. You only need to do simple things and make slight improvements, and they build on themselves, because once you get your sleep under control and your eating under control, you have more energy, you're more productive, you get more done. It gives you more time to eat better, do more exercise, and then it's a never-ending upward trajectory rather than the downward trajectory of eating junk food, which makes you feel sluggish and useless and not very productive, and you can't think straight. So hopefully that's it in a nutshell. Hopefully that was really valuable for everyone. And Francesco, thank you so much for letting me grab the mic in this space. It's been really good fun for me.
Nice, thank you. By the way, Graham, this is not a space, but you can call this a space.
Wow, that just shows, doesn't it? That just shows, yeah. Not addicted to spaces, everyone, promise. But yeah,
you could save like this like virtual space with cameras. You could have saved the day, but
I could have done, but no, just too much time in spaces on Twitter.
Nice. So, Graham, it has been really a pleasure. I see that the chat is literally exploding. Laughs, of course. Thank you so much. I think I have an idea to make available clips or clip of all the most valuable parts of this one. And yes, I think that this is enough. Of course, we will keep collaborating. We are working every day. I'm sure that I talk more with you than with my girlfriend. I'm sorry, Julia. And yes, so but we have been doing very good things. I can say that I'm close to 1 year in daily dev. Very close. I joined in October. I keep saying 3 months. 3 months. It's not 3 months anymore. It was 3 months.
9 months.
Yeah, we are getting close. This is a space stream. This is very interesting. Yes, I also, since we are here at the end of the live stream, we can relax a bit. If you want to stay 2 more minutes, and I will be more relaxed. Let's change the style. That's okay. So, yes, Graham. So, of course, we'll make some more spaces together. We'll do more stuff together. It has been a pleasure to collaborate with you in the last, I don't know, how many months for you? Because we keep saying 1 month.
3 months there. Let me see. Yeah, 3 months. 3 months I've been there now.
Wow. That's super good. And yes, I'm also preparing Twitter Space on Saturday. And a Twitter Space on Saturday, it will be about challenges. If I can manage, it will be challenging because I'm preparing just in one day. So it will be about some challenges. One of the challenges would be 100 days of reading an article that we can use Daily Dev for them. So for now, I've invited Dunsin, Danny, and who's the other one? The guy with has the blog. It blogs every day.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Chris,
Bangers, something like that. I don't.
something
Yeah,
like that.
something
No,
like
Chris
that. Yeah.
Bongers. Chris Bongers. They said yes. So since now I said this in the live stream, and now you have to come. You said just yes, but
I mean,
still
if you think
organizing.
if you're willing to pass me the mic and give me the opportunity to speak, and you think I can add value for everybody, then 100% I'll be there.
That would be interesting. If you have any, now I'll also make a tweet, but if you have any person who is on a challenge, for example, that will be the perfect fit. And of course, I'm looking also for some valuable co-hosts for sure. Nice. Virtual space, Graham and Fram. Perfect. Graham, we are done for today. Thank you so much for being in this episode of the Talking With series, a series that has started in October 2020. October 2020. We're getting close to 200 episodes, but I think I need to count them. And yes, also, I'm basically making a short of all my videos. I started today is the day 6, and I'm just doing my running videos.
So that won't be a short, will it?
But one day I'll arrive also on this one, and of course it will be a very valuable vertical video. So I'm trying this, and it's going well, but I don't want to announce yet. Usually I have this trick: when I have a challenge, I also wait some days, some weeks. So I know, okay, can you do this for real, and then announce it. I don't announce this on the day one. This is a little bit tricky just to keep safer and be sure that I can do something valuable. Nice, Graham. Okay. And do you have any final message that you would like to share? Something more? Or...
literally, if you're not already, and I'm sure everybody using this live stream is, check out Daily Dev. You know, there's a reason Francesca and I love working there. It's a really fun place to work, and we have an awesome product. So, and it's free, and that's the easiest thing in the world to tell people about. So yeah, and other than that, I've thoroughly enjoyed being on your live stream, and yes, I can't wait to see episode 200 and all the shorts that come of it, because I always enjoy the Talking With series.
Absolutely, and this, to be honest, makes my job as a developer advocate super easy, because you can just test it out. All the features are free. We are not joking this time. So you can just test it out. You can try to download it. It's available on different browser extensions. You can give feedback. You can have a call with me. Maybe this is not something that I should say. That it could be also a bad thing about the dev. So yes, just test it out, because we have been growing a lot. When I joined the dev, there were, I think, 5 or 6 people. Now we have almost tripled that number. We are growing very fast by providing value to developers. Yes. I think we are done. Perfect. Remember to follow Graham the Dev. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Francesca. See you all soon. Bye.